Hello again, friends. Dan Alasso, Making History, and I wanted to continue this morning with something that I sort of said as a side comment yesterday and said I would come back to. I mentioned yesterday that concurrent enrollment, or college in the high school classes offered by the local school and by some others in northern Minnesota were sort of an issue unto themselves. Today I thought I would elaborate because they are relevant to the situation at BSU. College in the high school is really just what it sounds like. It's an opportunity for secondary students to earn college credit, taking a kind of supercharged course that meets the learning objectives of a similar course in a college setting. The courses are taught by high school teachers, but they're supervised by college faculty. For example, I'm supervising a world history course up at Falls High School in International Falls on the Minnesota-Ontario border. That means that when the teacher was developing this course, I consulted with him on the syllabus. And I go up at least once each school year, but typically once every semester, to observe the class. And this oversight is designed to ensure that the students at the Falls are getting a course that resembles what they would get from me. Now, although students receiving college credit in high school reduces the number of credits they would have to take in college, the hope is that the Head Start will help to propel more students into a college prep track and ultimately will result in more people getting college educations. There are other ways, of course, that students can get college credit before matriculating. They can take AP courses and exams, or they can do PSEO, the post-secondary enrollment option, where the state of Minnesota actually pays their tuition and even pays for their books when they take actual college courses. In some semesters, as many as a quarter of the students in my U.S. history surveys have been PSEO high schoolers. And many of them are among the top students in those classes. So there are a lot of ways in which entering first-year undergrads can already have a lot of credits on their transcripts. And this isn't entirely new. When I matriculated at the University of Massachusetts over 40 years ago, I entered with a semester's worth of credits from an AP exam, a summer that I had spent at Cornell, and a German proficiency exam. When my son begins at Mankato State next week, he will already have about 60 credits on his transcript from 2 years of PSEO that he did at BSU instead of going to high school. There are even some programs that offer credit for prior work or for life experience. So there are lots of ways that people can receive credit toward a Bemidji State degree other than by taking courses at BSU. Now, there has been a lot of talk among faculty and the administration about the effects of these programs on enrollment and on the university's finances. While the concerns that people have expressed aren't irrelevant, I think they're kind of looking at the situation upside down. The cart is really before the horse. The point is not really how do these ways that students learn and earn credits affect BSU. The more appropriate question is, how can BSU best help students learn and earn degrees? Now, there's all kinds of data available out there that's been quoted all over the place, suggesting that on the average, people who have a bachelor's or higher degree will earn twice as much during their lifetimes as people with just a high school diploma. The assumptions behind this statistic are rarely examined, though. And I'm not even 100% certain what all of the assumptions are. But I suspect that they have to do with the relative number of people with each credential. In other words, if half of Americans have a high school diploma and half have a degree, then the degree holders will get the better jobs. And in recent experience, there are a lot of jobs that require a bachelor's degree or higher to even apply for. even if the job doesn't really specifically require skills acquired in college. Because there's kind of an understanding that a college education provides some basic thinking and learning skills, and that having the degree demonstrates that a person has learned, or at least has been exposed to these, and has had the discipline and the commitment to earn the degree, which is valuable. But what happens if 75% or 90% or even 100% of the people have degrees? Now, I think we can all agree that this would be a positive change for the individuals and a good thing for society. But what happens to labor markets? Specifically, what happens to the half of the economy that basically existed because employers could tap into a low-wage workforce? Maybe people will all shift to better jobs, and maybe automation will do more of the lower value work. I hope so. My point here is not really about that. It's only that the college graduates earn 2x statistic and calculation will change. Labor markets and pay will change. Not necessarily in ways that we can predict. Even so, I think we can agree that having more people receive more education is a social good. The question is, what education and where? Now, I'm running out of time this morning because I'm trying to keep these daily check-ins relatively short. But I want to continue pulling on this thread a little bit and think about things like skills versus general education and targeted programs versus four-year degrees, among other things. And where a residential university fits into an evolving picture of education and what a university like BSU might need to do to remain relevant. So, stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will continue thinking about and talking about those things during this retrenchment odyssey that I am on. Day 12 now with a couple hundred to go, so we have some time to think about these issues. But that's all for this morning, so thank you very much for watching. I will see you again